You've got a single raised bed, a tiny balcony, or maybe just a few pots on a sunny patio. When your square footage is that limited, every inch of soil has to earn its keep. If you plant a standard zucchini in that space, you're handing over your entire garden to a single sprawling plant that might reward you with a few squash, but will monopolize your only growing area for the entire summer. You'll see plenty of top 10 lists claiming to rank the most space-efficient vegetables, but these rankings rarely explain how they define efficiency. Efficiency is a broad term that doesn't mean much until you define what you are actually trying to extract from your garden. True space efficiency is built on a three-way trade-off between three very different goals: time, volume, and energy. Time is the speed from seed to a harvestable plate. How fast can you turn dirt into a meal? Volume is the ability to exploit vertical space for a continuous yield that lasts the whole season. And energy is raw caloric density, how much physical fuel you can store per square foot. To get the most out of a small garden, you have to decide which of these three metrics you want to prioritize, knowing that the others will likely take a back seat. The time optimizer strategy is built for the gardener who wants quick motivation and fast results. If you want to start harvesting as soon as possible, arugula and spring mix lettuces are the clear winners. These seeds can germinate in just a few days and reach their first harvest window in about 18 to 27 days. These are cut-and-come-again crops. When you harvest the outer leaves, the plant regrows almost immediately, allowing you to repeat the process all season. Because they grow so quickly, these greens have shallow root systems that require minimal soil depth. This means you can grow a massive amount of salad in containers only 6 inches deep, or in shallow, low-profile beds like the one shown here. The trade-off here is sustenance. You gain speed and save space, but the resulting harvest contains almost 0 calories. This strategy is an incredible culinary addition, but it won't provide much raw energy. If you have a small floor plan but plenty of access to blank walls or fences, the volume optimizer strategy is a better fit. There is a lot of hidden math here. A standard 6-foot wall that's 10 feet wide represents 60 square feet of potential growing surface that most people leave completely empty. The champion of this vertical space is the pole bean. When comparing bush and pole beans, the yield difference is obvious. Bush beans offer one heavy harvest and stop, while pole beans produce steadily over a much longer period. That extended timeline means continuous harvests from late June through September. The mistake most people make here is cheating on the container size. To support that massive vertical growth, you need a substantial root zone. A 15 to 20-gallon container is the absolute minimum. You also have to provide a vertical structure, like this simple bamboo teepee, for the vines to latch onto. Pole beans are aggressive climbers. They will naturally find these supports and twine around them with very little help from you. The trade-off for this massive volume is the upfront effort. You have to build the infrastructure and manage much larger quantities of soil. Vertical climbers provide the highest total yield per square foot of floor space, but only if you are willing to meet their structural demands. If your goal is self-sufficiency, speed and vertical volume matter far less than raw energy generation. In this case, caloric density becomes the most important metric for measuring your garden's output. Potatoes and dry beans are the undisputed kings of small space energy. To see why, look at the numbers. A single small garden bed can produce over 15,400 calories of potatoes. Dry beans are a close second. They offer an incredible calorie-to-space ratio and can be stored for years once dried. For potatoes, you can maximize a tiny space using a grow bag. This involves planting in a 10-gallon fabric bag and progressively mounding soil as the plant grows to force vertical production. Burying the stem in a new layer of soil forces the plant to produce more tubers, effectively growing your crop in a vertical column. The trade-off is time. These crops occupy your soil for the entire summer without immediate harvests, culminating in a single event at the end of the season. Root and tuber crops act as long-term assets, converting months of patience into dense winter energy. Trying to optimize for speed, volume, and calories all in the same pot usually leads to poor results across the board. This decision framework maps your specific constraints to the right crop for your space. If you have small pots and need fast wins to stay motivated, arugula or radishes are the winners. If you have blank walls and want a constant harvest throughout the summer, pole beans are the answer. If you view your garden as a food storage asset and don't mind waiting months for a result, grow bag potatoes are your best bet. choosing a plant that requires more maintenance than you can provide, or more time than you're willing to wait, is a fast track to gardening burnout. Space efficiency isn't a single biological fact. It's a match between a plant's genetics and your personal goals. Once you stop viewing your patio as a constraint and start treating it as a specialized ecosystem, you can choose the crop that was actually built to thrive there.